Okay, so today we're going to get the transmission back in the 64 Fairlane. Decided to use the A1 converter, and if you watch my other videos you'll know why in the last video. But this video we're going to do kind of a review on a Harbor Freight transmission jack, and we'll do an unboxing and I'll show you how it works out. I'm hoping it's perfect for for a guy without a lift, and that's what I was looking for. Now this transmission jack is a 2,000 pound capacity. It's supposed to lift 31 3/4 of an inch high. It's supposed to be low profile, and the reason I think it's good for a guy like me who doesn't have room in his garage for an actual lift is that you can get the car high enough to where you can lower your jack and roll it out from underneath the car, but your jack will still reach high enough to put it in the car without having to lower the car back down, which is what I was having to do. So, and also it should be high enough to get it off of my workbench. And since I am 55 years old now and starting to feel some pulled muscles in my back, and I have a torn rotator cuff, yeah, that means a lot. So let me unbox this and I'll show you what this thing looks like. Okay, this jack itself weighs, the box shipping weight is over 140 pounds, about 140. So the jack itself, you're going to have to, when you find a place you want to keep it, if you were to buy this jack, you're going to have to find a good place to keep it where it's convenient and you don't have to pick it up and you can just drag it out. So, as you can see, it's a big overkill for the size of transmissions I do. But like I said, it's all about the lifting height for me. Made by Pittsburgh, straight from China. I know Harbor Freight sells all Chinese stuff. I don't like that. I like to buy American, but any other jack, I looked around too online, any other jack that is American made, you're talking $700 to $1,300 for a jack this size. And like I said, I don't need one that lifts that much weight, but I want the height. So, see how she works out. Okay. Can I get this thing off of here without hurting myself? I think I would be better served to get it off of my dolly and drag it off. It is a heavy one, and it's big, so I'll have to find a good place to keep it when I'm done with it. I'm not even going to try to put it up. Get it out like this. Got a box of hardware. Pretty sure this is the pieces that go to that. I think that's the only thing I got to put on it. There we go. Let's see what's in our hardware box here. Looks like I see a chain in there. You see these pieces that go right here. I may or may not use those because I want to be able to slide it up, slide it off the table and onto this. And it looks like it tilts. These, I think I'll do. You get a chain with it. I think it'd be easier to use a ratchet strap. I may not use any of this hardware in here. There may be occasions when I use these. Yeah, you get a chain which would not be, which may or may not be long enough. It looks like. Yeah, we got a hook. Yeah, I see what goes on. You got their idea with the chain, and like I said, I don't think I'm going to use it, is get a wing nut that goes on it. And you got a slot right here. You can hook your chain in like that. Hook it around there. And that will go around the transmission. That would be a lot long enough to go around mine, but I don't think I'm going to use it. I'd rather use a ratchet strap because you can make it tight. That is a little loose. Let's lift it up and see what's going on there. Okay, get your handle. You can swing it around like so. And I'll do like that. Let's see. To make it lift and release, you got a handle you turn right here. I do like that this here swivels any way you want it. That part I really like. Definitely heavy made for China. See how it releases, and you can control it pretty good without it letting go all at once, like some of my regular old floor jacks do. So I do like that. Now, yeah, it looks like that is just how loose that is going to be. So you can tilt it this way, and you can tilt it that way. But that is a little looser than I would like it. But when you compare the price to an American-made one, I guess it'd be worth your time to maybe improve that, tighten up the clearances, remake some stuff. I mean, for the difference in price, you almost wouldn't mind doing that. I think it's going to work good. I'm going to roll it over here and see how it slides off the table. See how high it actually goes. Alright, as advertised, it does lift that high. So the only thing I wish it had, as far as this goes, I wish the wheel's locked. Because when I go to drag this off, the jack's going to roll backwards. Now, before I even attempt to, I may go ahead and use the chain. I still think a ratchet strap would be less awkward. Nah, I'm going to use the strap. Okay, I'm going to find me a cheaper ratchet strap later that I don't really care that much about and cut it to length. This one is a good heavy duty one and I don't want to cut it. But it's a good idea to strap it to that tight before you go to moving it around, because when you tilt it from one way or another, that play, see, it's pretty sloppy. I don't know if I'll ever bother to fix that, but for the price, I wouldn't mind having to fix that compared to say a $700 to $1,300 jack. But this is so much better than picking this thing up. And you can control it pretty good. That part I really like. I mean, hey, for $339, it's a lot of jack for $339. Okay, now I'm going to have to lift the car up higher because I pulled this transmission with my, I got a little $69 motorcycle jack, which does pretty good, but like I said, it only reaches so far. And you have to lower the car back down for the jack to reach. And all four wheels do caster, meaning they turn. So, as you can see, I got a little way up with the car. But what I'm hoping the beauty of all this will be is I can lift the car high enough. Okay, that's as low as it goes right there. You can lift the car high enough to where it'll clear, and you don't have, and once you get the transmission under the jack, you don't have to lower the car back down because your other jack won't reach. This one should reach no matter how high I have to lift this car. So I'm going to get this car up good and high. And another good thing, you can do this. Could use a little bit of lubricant on those threads. And I do already have my converter in, if you're wondering that. Okay, let me get the car up higher, and I'll show you what it's like to get it under the car with this jack. Okay, this is as high as my jack stands will allow me to hold the car. And it could stand to go a little higher. Well, no, we're almost there. But we can tilt that thing down to where it clears. That's what that's for. And I can go straight under now. In case you're wondering, why don't you just slide it off the jack, on the jack, under the car? Because I'm tired of doing that. That's why. That is a pain in the butt. I mean, if I had a little C4 or a Power Glide, that would make more sense, but this is a C6. I still run the big stump puller. Excuse the butt shot. Okay. Got my drain pan in the way. And now I'm in place. And I can tilt it back to where I want it. Okay, this is the beauty of having a butchered up drag car. How many OEM cars can you get sit up on the floor of the inside the car and do this? I never ever forced this together. Now, I wasn't exactly flush with the block, but I knew that my studs, I could use another extension, but I'll just do it this way. But I knew that my studs were through the flywheel, and that I can just use these to snug them up. Oh, I wish I could quit hitting that dash. Just snugged up. And that, what? I got the wrong bolt. That's a 3/8 bolt. It's supposed to be 7/16 thread. Yeah. What's wrong with you? I need another bolt. Yeah, we got the right size bolt. And again, I'm not going to tighten it until they're all in there. It's just snug. When I get them in there and snug them down, make sure the engine turns over, and I know it will, and then we can put the cross member on it, and the hardest part is done. Engine and bell housing are snugged down and flush. You see the studs for the converter coming through the flywheel. You can also see one up there, and I can still move it back and forth because of the clearance in the flywheel hole. And that means that it's going to be okay. And just to be sure, we'll make sure it turns over. And yes, the engine does turn over. And that squeaking you hear is my air compressor. And that's all I need to see there. Okay, hopefully the last and final part of the jack is used. And hopefully I left this cross member turned the way it came out. It'll go in either way, but it won't line up both ways. That's looking about right. So stick the mount bolt in first. Let's see. Please don't fall. That's in there. That almost lines up. In you go. Don't cross-thread your bolt, smart. Oh, ow, hit my head. And these are poly lock nuts with lock washers on the other side, because that is one thing you don't want falling apart going down the track. That could be really embarrassing. Maybe dangerous. There's that. Two more. One bolt. And ooh, it almost lines up. 2 bolts. And even though everything's not tight, we can release the jack, roll it out. Whoops, I forgot one thing. Gotta undo my ratchet strap. Now we can let it down. Okay, there's your Harbor Freight transmission jack. 2,000 pound capacity. Almost 31 inches of lift. Not bad. Now I do see some oil here. I don't know where that came from. Maybe from the transmission fluid. I filled the converter as much as I could before sticking it in the transmission pump. So some of that could have leaked out when I tilted the transmission down. So that is it. So, for $339, $339.99 I think it was, I think it's worth it. It made what I do easier. Like I said, for a guy without a lift and doesn't have room for a lift, it's an alternative for it. The whole idea of it is to have the car high enough to where you can leave the transmission on the jack and roll it in and out from underneath of the car, yet the jack still has the capacity to lift high enough to get it in the car without having to change your jack stand height. And I got some pretty big jack stands. That's the only thing. It took them to their limit of height, and I did have to tilt it down some to get it under there, but that beats the heck out of what I used to do. I used to lift the car way up, roll it under, and then I had to lower the car so the jack would reach. So it's worth it to me. Now I'm going to have to find a good place to store this big heavy thing to where it's not in the way. And what I also like about the 30 3/4 inches of lift is that I no longer have to pick up transmissions to put them on this table. So I'm going to get those bolts tightened, and I'll get the rest of this in, and we'll cover the what the stall converter does for this car in a later video, as soon as the weather breaks. Still cold out. So yeah, thanks for watching.